So I have the honor of introducing Miss Kathy Bushnell. Where are you, honey? Just shake your hands. Oh my goodness. Oh, here is her book. I'm surprised it's even in good shape because I've read it so many times. And let me tell you about Kathy Bushnell. So we call her a 1960s rock and roll trailblazer. She is an international best-selling author. She was inspired by the British invasion. She and another gutsy American woman named Janet moved from New York City to London, where they co-founded Emily Muff, the first female rock duo in the history of British rock and roll. So Emily Muff performed on BBC TV, opened concerts for bands such as Yes, Family, Steppenwolf in America, and eventually played the Royal Albert Hall in London. Kathy is now looking for a director to make her book into a movie, and she has been on every single show. We have heard her before. Thank you so much for coming back. So Kathy, just make sure we can see who you are because we're not able to do that panel. I am now going to take it to Yankee Crystal Lowe, Canadian actor and director, Canada in the house, born to a Chinese father and Scottish mother in Vancouver, and at a young age moved to Hong Kong. She started her career as a professional actor at the age of 15, and to date has been in over 98 TV shows and movies. She became one of Hollywood's most in-demand scream queens, which is interesting because we have Darby Mills on here today that has also been known for having a powerful voice. She now stars on the Hallmark Channel with the hit series Signed, Sealed, and Delivered, and has been nominated for multiple awards as Best Actress. She has a passion and talent for directing and has produced numerous award-winning films, and most recently released Shifting Gears, a movie about a female racing driver on the Hallmark Channel this past, just in March, just a little bit ago. And then, so Yankee, if you want to kind of say hello, hey, say hello. Thank you. There you are. And then Katie Chin, if you want to just kind of do a little shake so we know where you are. Celebrity chef, multiple author, TV personality, and philanthropist. Katie co-hosted the national PBS cooking series Double Happiness in conjunction with her late mother and legendary chef Leanne Chin. Katie has written 4 and working on her 5th cookbook. Katie's national TV appearances include Live with Kelly and Ryan, The Today Show, The Hallmark Channel, which is interesting because you're right beside Yankee, E! Entertainment, and a guest judge on Food Network's Iron Chef America, has been a chef contestant on Cutthroat Kitchen, Supermarket Stakeout, and Beat Bobby Flay, which I watch every single day. So welcome, ladies, to the 262 Summit. And I'm going to let Kathleen introduce our next 3 ladies.
Okay, you know what I was thinking? I'll take a little pause here as we bring the next 3 in. You know what the difference is between an event and a movement? An event has a beginning and an end, right? A movement just keeps going and it just keeps picking up momentum. And I have to say, the momentum we have and the fact that this movement is really drawing in some of them right from the beginning and some will continue forever. The power that we're going to talk about today with our ladies, that's a movement. These women are sensational and they're right here, right beside us. And I love that. And I'm honored. So the first person I am going to get to introduce is Miss Lainey Strauss. And oh my, there's so much to say. First of all, she successfully led projects as a producer, a strategist, all across all different kind of media, right? TV, film, entertainment industry. She has a big heart for nonprofits. She's been instrumental in helping us as well. She's worked with global leaders, including royals, presidents, Congress, and just really reaching an audience. We talk about viewership of over 100 million viewers. That's pretty amazing. She's helped raise over $20.5 million for charity causes throughout the United States. How amazing is that? I love it. She's the president of Lower Merion Productions and has enjoyed success across all of these industries. And there's so much to say more about her. So I'm going to just pop off with some of the things you might be aware of. She is a film accomplished TV and film producer, and she's sold things like Teacher of the Year. If you've watched that, starring Keegan Michael Kay. Let's see what else is in here. Two Guys and a Girl, CW's Wicked Wicked Games. It just goes on and on. Lainey, you're a superstar. We're so happy to have you here with us. Thank you and welcome to the stage. And yeah, and hopefully we can keep getting some more up on here. Amanda May, if we can get Amanda up here to join our stage as well, that would be great. Amanda's been up here before, has definitely been. She's here. Okay,
She's
good,
here.
because I'm having trouble seeing everybody. There we go. All right. There she is, the beautiful, beautiful Miss Amanda. She's been, and I say beautiful, beautiful, because guess what? She's the beauty boss. Yep. CEO, TV personality, and philanthropist, and she is beautiful. She's a leader in the beauty industry, covering literally all aspects of it for over 2 decades, and she doesn't look like that could be true. She's been on executive leadership boards, a $325 million roll up in the beauty industry. She does live TV sales right at the top, international speaking, international beauty editor, advanced aesthetics training, product development, and makeup artistry. She's worked with women directors of the United States nations to build self-sustaining, one of our big words here, women's projects in the province of Venda, South Africa. And again, so much more. And we're going to hear lots more about it. Amanda, welcome to the stage with us. Thank you. Thank you. And next up, certainly last but not least at all, is our own Darby Mills. Hopefully we can get her up here as well.
Here.
What do we know? She's here. Okay. Okay, perfect, because I couldn't find her. So Darby Mills is known as the Janis Joplin of Canada. And if you know Deborah at all, you know she loves her some Janis Joplin, and I know how she feels about Darby Mills. So welcome. She was the voice of the Headpins release from 1980 to 2016. 36 years. Holy moly. They were nominated for the Most Promising New Act in Juno, which is the Canadian Music Awards. Let's see. She shared music awards with all kind of top performing groups and has won the top female vocalist of the year. Darby, welcome to the stage. We can't wait to hear the wisdoms that all of you have to share with us. Thanks for being here.
All right.
Yeah.
So because we can't do a celebrity panel as per due to some of the downsides to technology sometimes, I'm going to ask a question.
Deb,
And
we have everyone up. Everyone's up. I think we should be
okay,
able to
can
see
we do the
everyone.
celebrity panel?
Yep, you've got everyone up.
Okay, great. Thank you. So that is our CMO. Don't do a project like this without one who has a team. I talked about that earlier. So I'm going to ask a question, and I'm just going to ask. It's going to be the same question to all of you, and then Kathleen will ask a question. We're going to ask a couple of questions. This is your time, please, ladies. The question that I'm going to kind of start off with is a big one. What does being a woman mean to you? But also, please share with us anything that we did not share about you. Anything that you want women to know about what you're doing and how you're doing it. We're going to ask a little bit more about your industry and what you'd like to see happen for women. But please share where you're at. And so the first question is, what does being a woman mean to you? And anything you want to share around that. So Miss Katie Chin, let's start with you.
To me, being a woman means embracing all of the amazing attributes that make us feminine, and not to apologize, not to ever feel like you're less than, to embrace your sisterhood, embrace your divine feminine, and just stand proud.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. And Miss Lainey Strauss. Hi.
Hi. For me, being a woman is just more than being really about being a gender. It's about being, I think we're so strong as human beings, just in general. And we've been forced to be stronger than anybody else would ever imagine. And I think men have over the years have learned that the hard way when they see women give birth. But I think the strength of a woman is so much deeper than just the physical strength, the strength to overcome so many things that I think all of us have had to overcome over many years of working on in different environments. I've been the only woman in a lot of rooms. and um and as Katie was just saying, there's no apologies. We don't have to go into anything being anything other than who we are and being fully ourselves. So for me, it's really about being your whole true strongest self and being proud of everything you bring to the table and your unique self, your unique abilities. And I guess that's it in a nutshell.
No, that's fantastic. Thank you so much. And we will hear from you again in the reel on the way out. You share some amazing drops. And Amanda May, welcome to the table. And we just love, we've used many times when we ask you what International Women's Day means to you, and it was the day that your baby was due. And you came onto the summit and like, oh, baby's due, not coming, so I'm going to do a summit. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so cool. Answer that question for you. What does being a woman mean to you?
Yeah, for me, when I feel the intuitive nature that we have, it's such a beautiful space that women get to operate in. And, we are the ones that bear children. So there's this creative flow that comes from being female. And when we step into that, not to compete with men, but to complete men, that there's a full picture there. There's two elements that are both very powerful when put together. It's like we're a part of that picture. And so that's where you get the most magic. But being in that creative flow and pulling things that were not into existence is really, really, really magical. And I experienced that the day I did the summit and did not have my baby until the next week. And so the other interesting piece is, I think as women, we just naturally get to connect with each other. And that's something that, at least in the male sphere I'm around, there isn't as much of that transparency and openness among men as there is among women. So us being able to really be there to support each other is also really powerful, because we need to talk about things. It's good for us. It's good for our hormones. So having the sisterhood is a really cool aspect of being a woman.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thank you. Darby?
I agree with everything that the rest of the panel has said. I also have been for 45 years, if not more, in a man's world. I've traveled with men in vans across the country for all these years. I felt the best way to be accepted by them was to be the best man I could be. So a slightly different concept to what the other women are saying. Although as I'm aging now, coming up on 65, I'm starting to realize I'm not a man. I am truly a woman. Blessed to have two wonderful sons. One who is in Italy right now and is sick, and he's called home going, Mom, I don't feel well. So I'm a little stressed right now that I can't reach out to my boy, but it's been a crazy ride. And I think being a woman, how strong we can be, it has, I think we're amazing that we have the strength that we have, and how we can still stand up or get up the next day after being knocked down how many times. And, or at least that's what I'm finding right now, is that no matter what their challenges are in front, the only thing that you can really do that makes sense is to just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and just tomorrow is a different day. And that's kind of where I'm coming from right now.
Awesome. Thank you. It's a good reminder. Tomorrow is a different day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And Miss Kathy Bushnell, what is it being a woman? What's it all about for you?
Well, I think a lot of women here who have been speaking have answered basically the same thing I was thinking of, because I was going to talk about what I personally think is our spontaneous sisterhood. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Which is where I've noticed this my whole life, where even when women are total strangers, we tend to gravitate towards each other, talk with each other when we're in line waiting or entering, buildings. And it's just wonderful. And we can comment about anything really, ranging from, our hairstyles, our careers, and family dynamics, and we can give a lot of empathy and hugs. And to me, this special, spontaneous female connection, especially even among strangers, which is so uniquely female, I feel, is so refreshing, and it just warms my heart and brings abundant joy to my life. One other thing I want to mention is that I had a very close friend, male friend, and he had noticed this among women, between women, and he confided in me that he felt very jealous because he was always trying to, out in public, just trying to be friendly and greet other men, how are you, that kind of thing. And he said it's like so many of them were wearing blinders and just going from one point to the next. So that made him very sad, and I just wanted to share that I feel we are really so blessed to have this spontaneous and innate connection.
Thank you for sharing. I think we can all relate to even someone introducing us to someone that we don't really know, but they've walked in your house or walked in your party or walked into your event, and you just by nature go to hug them, right? It's just like, oh, hey, nice to meet you, because you're a friend of somebody's. And you're right, it's probably not the exact same with our counterpart. So Miss Yankee Crystal Lowe, thoughts?
Yeah. God, I love all my three names. I just have the longest name. The word that comes to mind for me is trailblazer. And I don't think that we asked for that position. I think, unfortunately, we were birthed into that position, What I thought was really interesting about listening to these women speak before me is what Darby was talking about with having to shift and move to behave or fit in with the men, and then what Lane and Amanda and the other women were talking about of who we are, which we are not men. Unfortunately, I think in the last bajillion years, we've been forced to sit in a space where we had to either adopt that behavior or get lost in the weeds. And I'm only really seeing it now that we as women are embracing who we are, and we are not men. Like we've all said, we have our own attributes. To be a woman is to be a multitasker. To be a woman is to be able to birth children and have empathy and understanding in a way that I don't know what happens with men. I'm not one, so I have no idea. But I think to be a woman is to be a trailblazer, especially in a time like now, because we are as women collectively now actively trying to change a patriarchy. And that's a patriarchal system that we are still living in and have grown up in, all of us. And the arrow keeps getting pulled back on us every time we take a step forward. They take something away. So I think being a woman now is being a trailblazer in your own right, in whatever that means for you, stepping into your power and surviving, and maybe showing a shift that things don't have to be the way they've always been. They can change. And that's what I feel like as a woman, I'm trying to do. And it's exhausting. But the one thing I also know, because I'm a mother, is we can do everything, even when we're exhausted, So that would be my take on being a woman. Good luck, guys. Here we are.
I love that. I love the jovial outlook. And I think that I love trailblazer. I mean, it's funny because that's what we call Kathy, because she was, she has lots of trailblazing stories like Darby would in the music industry. And I think that, I know that sometimes we get excited, like, wow, the books had 91 million media impressions. I think when we hear that, anyone can say 91 million. I mean, 91 million. But I think what gets us excited is that that's how many journalists picked us up. That's how many TV picked us up. That's how many people wrote about us. That's how many people decided to put it into their paper, into their digital, which tells you something, because they don't do that for anything. But I think we can feel it And I believe that you're accurate, that we're in it. We're in
Yeah.
the rise. We've seen it in certain ways. We've seen it rise in certain sectors. We've seen sectors that still need support. And it's kind of like this a little bit. And I think the biggest rise has been about authentically being okay with where you are and what you're doing while you're trailblazing, right? I think that, I don't know, I call it the pantsuit era. We kind of hit the pantsuit era, and now we're starting to wear whatever we want, but still making movement. So I absolutely love that.
I definitely felt like, and I don't know if anyone else has seen Barbie in this movie, but there was a big speech that was given, and everybody said, oh, this big speech. And I'll tell you something, that speech made me angry. And this is not why you think it made me. It made me angry that we still had to say this speech. I was like, wait, what? Do people not know this? Do people not know that we are juggling 18,000 things and trying to be beautiful while also being a good mom, while not getting too fat and not being too skinny? You know, what, do they not know that? Oh, I guess they don't. And so it was a reminder that, you know, we still need to fight for one another and stick by one another, and rebuild a concept of what our place is, because I don't know that we have been allowed to do that, and that doesn't stop. And so I'm so glad to be with a collective group of women that we can go, hey, how do we keep moving forward and finding ourselves within a world that did not really want us to find ourselves because it didn't benefit them. And that's where I will stop my speech.
Well, there's more talking to be had. I'm going to pass the mic over to Kathleen. Thank you for answering that. Kathleen has a different question. We've got a couple of questions, and then we're going to cheer and celebrate. And Kathleen, Miss Kathleen Carlson.
That was a beautiful segue into the next question for sure. You know, you've all been superstars. You are all superstars in your industry. And yet you fought some battles, some things have changed. And as you point out, Crystal, more has to change, right? So what would each of you, and we'll go one by one, what would each of you like to see happen for the women that are coming into your industry sector? Those that are maybe just getting started. I'm going a little different order here. We'll start with Lainey. Lainey, what would you like to see for the women that are coming in?
Well, for me, I think it's really important that I actually want women to stop fighting. I have a very different philosophy.
That's a good thing.
Yeah, I know women have been told this story that we have to be warriors. And while I understand that word can be valuable to give you strength, I think a lot of women take it as they have to fight with everyone to show their power and their strength. So what I really want to take away from sort of this next generation and the young women that I'm working with is really becoming their own full selves and being so secure and comfortable in their own skin, and knowing their own worth and knowing their stuff. I mean, we have to know our stuff. We have to be fully ourselves, but we have to kick ass. So nobody, and I've said this, I put this in my book, but it's my philosophy. It's about being undeniable. Nobody can deny you when you're doing it. So it's like someone can't say to me, oh, Lainey, you can't run a $350 million film fund of all men, because I'm doing it. So nobody can say I can't do something while I'm doing it. So, you know, this whole idea of you know, and I know a lot of women still feel they have to be small or apologize, or, oh, I have to fight with everyone to show them that I'm strong. And the more we come into our own, and the more confidence we have in ourselves, and the more we're in our own skin, and the more we know our worth, our value, and we have to know our stuff. We can't obviously go in there and just think we're going to get ahead because, you know, we're women and they need a woman. We have to know what we're doing, learn from women who know more than us, or know from men as well. We need to work with both men and women, and find people who are good mentors, are good people to look up to, and really learn from them, and come into our own and be willing to do the work to move up in a process. We can't just walk in and expect to be a CEO. You have to do, you know, I've been a PA, I've been, you know, I worked in every job, and I've hustled, and I've taken opportunities where I was unpaid, low paid, you know, and you work your way up and you know your stuff. So now I can be on a set, I can run a set, I know who to hire, I know who's good at their job, I can work with people, men, women, you know, and understand, and we can respect each other. And you have to have respect for yourself and go in there with your strength, and that is authentically you,
Mm.
and really own what you know and be comfortable enough that you don't have to fight with people to show them how much you know. But to really, and we, you know, I know years past, and thanks to these women who are on with us now, there were times where women felt they had to pretend to be a man, or to be a leader, or to fit in, or, you know, to wear the pantsuit and to look like a man, and worried about being attractive. But you know what? Now we have to own who we are, own our femininity, own we have masculine and feminine qualities, and be fully who we are, and move forward in our best selves and what we know and who we are and the unique things we bring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I
Wow.
agree with that.
That's a mic drop, right? I love that. Be undeniable. It's kind of like assume the position, but then do the position. And I love that. I love that. Amanda, what do you have to add to that? That is really good.
Yeah. So the question being, what do I want for people coming into my industry, which would be the
What
beauty
do you want?
industry?
Yep.
Yes. Okay.
Yep. What do you want women to see?
Yeah, it's that balance of inner and outer beauty. There's a lot of focus in the beauty industry on the external. And ever since I started in this space and I started to realize that self-worth was a real issue for myself and for many women, it was creating a message and a tribe of women that care about who they're being and healing themselves, so that they can have that beauty that shines from within. This is both, it's the balance of both. So it's not just inner work and it's not just outer work, but for women coming, or men, anyone coming into this industry, that there is more focus and attention put on both aspects, the internal and the external. And that takes a lot of work, and it takes a lot of integrity, and also courage, because to stop and take a look at who you're being before you have a conversation. I love Zig Ziglar's quote, the be, do, have quote, you know, you've got to be before you can do, and do before you have. It's like that starts with, who are we being? And so what I would want is for everybody to be very deliberate about who they're being out in the world, because that is what creates the impact and truly makes someone beautiful on the inside and out. I remember times where I would be working with a client early on when I actually was servicing clients, and it was like just loving on them, and you can't give what you don't have. So I had to really overflow from an abundant place, and being able to share love and light from a deeper level and have authentic conversations with them helped me build connection, which then in turn built my business. So it just was a natural flow. And at the same time, you know, I'm making them feel beautiful on the outside. And so they walk out with this confidence, and they've got this, you know, inner light shining, and it's just a beautiful balance.
I love that, because you really can't fake confidence, not for very long anyway. You know, so I love that it starts on the inside. Thank you for that. Darby, what's your perspective? What do you want to see happen for women coming into your industry?
You know what? I don't have the answer to that. I know that one of the women that came up through the Headpins organization, or should I say through our management, ended up being a very integral part of Much Music, or Much More Music. She ended up running it. Denise Donnellan, who was my bridesmaid at the time, or when I got married 40 years ago, to watch what she's gone through and the different steps going through Much Music, and then becoming a record company president, and So women can do it, but even she admitted she realized she was hired at the time because they needed to let go a huge percentage of their roster. So they brought a woman in to do that, is what I think she put it down to. So in my experience in the industry, I have been the fall guy myself for the headpin debt, being the youngest member, the least paid member, the one that got fired. You know, learn about the business, ladies, girls, women. Figure out what you're getting into. I was young and stupid and naive, and I lucked out and landed a good job when I was 21 with a band that ended up going places. And the mistakes I made and the things I've learned in that time, I wish I had more words of wisdom other than it's a rough ride. There are definitely those at the top, men and women, who have their own agenda. And what I can wish for newbies coming in is just know who you are. What I found is every time that I stuck up for myself, I ended up suffering the consequences of being my own woman. Usually because it was men that was pulling the strings. So just know who you are, realize that it's probably going to be a rough journey, and surround yourself with as many supporters as you can. And even at that point, I mean, I might not sound very positive right now, but it's it's been a really, really crazy up and down ride. And right now I'm reinventing again at in a couple months, I'll be 65, and this is the fourth time I believe I've reinvented myself in the music industry. And it isn't a whole lot different other than I'm a braver individual at this point in time. I know my strengths, I know my weaknesses, and to be able to surround yourself with people that support you in the places that you might not be adequately suited for, or being prepared for. Have a good manager, have a good lawyer. Don't let your manager give you his lawyer to sign his contract with. That's the first mistake I made. What are you going to do if you don't sign the contract, Darby? You'll never get anywhere at 21. So I signed the contract, and it ended up costing me $500,000, which I never made. But you know, read your books, watch your documentaries. There's so many stories out there of how to and how not to do it, and just how tilted and one-sided that my industry is anyway. And be prepared for the bumpy road that's coming at you. And yeah, just surround yourself with true believers if you can find them, because sometimes they're only there for what they can get out of the ride too. And in my experience, most of them are there for that. So be strong. Be strong. That's all I can say.
That's great. There's nothing wrong with a dose of reality, because every one of us have faced it. So I love it. Know yourself, know where you belong, get a support team around you. Very good. Katie, how about you? What would you like to see for the women coming into your industry?
Well, as many of you know, the culinary world is a very male-dominated industry filled with lots of sexism. It's slowly starting to change, but it's a rough environment. I mean, being a chef is extremely physical. It's extremely hierarchical. Did you watch The Bear? You have to pay your dues, right? But I think what sets us apart as women, and the advice I would give to young female chefs, is what makes us unique is our feminine sensibility. And I really encourage young female chefs to integrate that to their management style, to the recipes they develop, the taste, because a lot of men, you know, when they develop recipes, is to show off. We nourish people. And I think we have that superpower, because when we nourish, we're feeding mind, body, soul. And that makes us better chefs in many respects. Because I think when you put love into food, it tastes different, right? Also banding together in the kitchen, because it can be really a rough environment, intimidating, exhausting. You know, seasoned male chefs testing you. so don't, work hard, keep your head down, work hard. I would give that advice to anybody. And I always say, don't dream harder than you work. So, if you're getting, feel like you're being punished, it's not necessarily because you're a woman. I mean, I think that happens to a lot of, people entering the kitchen and entering the workforce as a chef. So you have to work as hard, but sometimes, as we all know, we have to work harder than men in many instances, but also create boundaries for respect. Because there's bullies in the kitchen. So you really have to stand your ground, but ask for help as well. And definitely rely on the other women in the kitchen to support you.
Wow. Wow. Great advice. I'm going to sneak over to Kathy here. Kathy, what would you say? What would you want to see happening for women coming into your industry?
In terms of young women, I think it's very important that they, of today, when they're trying to enter the rock and roll arena, that they're respected, honored for the attempts that they make and their creativity, and supported in their quest for success. And why do I think this is important? It's because of this. Because as a former trailblazer, and still continuing to be one in terms of the legacy I have left and am still leaving, these young women are about to break into the rock and roll industry and will soon become the latest group of innovative chick rockers, and they will be blazing a trail that's new for the next generation of female rockers. And I think that's important to keep in mind. It's sort of like passing the torch, but in different ways. We all learn, each generation learns things and how to do things. I think one advantage that young women in the rock and roll arena, especially if they play electric guitars, is when I first appeared on the scene in London in 68 to 72, there were only a couple of other female bands, not duos. We were a duo. And the audiences were not used to seeing young women toting Telecaster electric guitars and playing and, coming out on stage, when it would echo throughout. It wasn't that louder was better. It was just that our songs that we did, original songs only, were just soaring. It was our soul that was soaring out into the large arenas. So I see young women who are breaking into the rock and roll industry today as future trailblazers, to keep it up.
Beautiful. Thank you, Kathy. Yen K. Crystal, will you take us home on this? Oh, you're muted.
I muted myself because I was pouring water and I didn't want you guys thinking I was peeing. That would be super weird on this. The advice that I would give to young female filmmakers coming into this, God, we need you so much. We need you. We need your voice, man. Think about how many films have been told from a perspective, and they've been great. There's the best movies ever, but I haven't seen our voices as much as I need to see our voices. And we have a different take on things. If you are a young filmmaker, start making films. Everybody will say that. I'm still doing it now. Do not stop. Yeah, I just directed a film that was great. What next? I'm always chasing the dragon because I'm obsessed with this job. If you love it the way I love it, just please get down, figure out what you want to say, and try and hone in on your voice. It is the only thing, I think all of us have said this in this, it's the only thing that separates you. What are you trying to say to the world? And I would definitely tell them, it really helped for me, when I was able to identify somebody else and go, oh, Issa Rae, okay, that woman is doing all the things. Now I have someone I can look at. Now I can start getting specific. What genre do you want to be in? Do you love telling romance stories? Do you love telling hard action? Whatever it is, whatever makes you feel alive, figure out what it is you want in that genre, and then also find out what you have to say to the world. Because you're going to do it through filmmaking. And there's always, give yourself a higher reason. Don't become an artist without one. I know for me that there's a kid in a basement somewhere that has not seen themselves, that doesn't feel loved, that doesn't feel accepted, and is watching something I put on, and for the first time feels like maybe I'm not stuck in this spot. Maybe I have a whole crew of people out there that I just haven't met yet. That's who I'm making films for. I know that. Figure out who you're making this for, and then the drive won't stop. Then you will be a PA in the rain. Then you will do, and I have done everything on myself. If I make movies and nobody will fund it, I'm going to IKEA, I'm buying all that stuff, I'm building it. I'm returning it after. Don't tell IKEA that, but I'm doing it. Like I will do whatever it takes to make movies because it's what I love. And I hope that any young filmmaker coming in just does the same. Get your iPhone, start shooting, then start begging people for cameras. Just keep chasing after that thing and you will make it happen. And then people will come to you eventually, but don't wait. What are you waiting for? Nothing. You're waiting for the phone to ring. You're going to wait for that anyways. You might as well start making your own stuff until they get there. That's my only advice that I tell myself every morning, just so you know, so that I will keep doing it.
And make your mistakes cheap. Like
yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
Like when you're doing, start with making a short, make a little sketch, like start to, make your projects inexpensive. Use your iPhone, or if your friend has a camera, just start doing it. You will learn so much before you have to spend money on a bigger budget. I that movie with Keegan-Michael Key she mentioned, I made it for $16,000. It's made millions of dollars. Like we made it with, a pack of gum and a Q-tip. It's like ridiculous. MacGyvered that thing. So it is possible. But make your mistakes cheap. You don't want to invest. I felt so bad. I've seen people invest like their entire life savings in something and they've never done anything before, and it just doesn't pan out. It's not the best way to make your mistakes. Like start small, inexpensive, learn. Every time I do a project, I learn more.
It's the best. The learning is the best. That's the best part.
You know what I'm hearing like over and over with every story that you tell and everything you reference, because when you're not in the kind of circles that you ladies are in, people on the outside stand out and think somebody rolled out some beautiful red carpet, and because you're female, they carried you in some little, that didn't happen. I mean,
absolutely
really
not. I am
every one of you. Yep. Every one of you, action takers, real life, ready to, stand up against whatever it takes, whether that's internal, external. Can I just say the word badass? I mean, really, thank you all for being such badasses and sharing that vision.
But the idea of when I first came to LA at like 19 and somebody rolling out the red carpet.
Nobody
doing $4 and didn't know anyone and had like a crappy studio apartment in Hollywood. There was no red carpet, I can assure you.
Well, somebody said that, like, nobody's coming. Who said? I don't know who said that. They were nobody's coming. And I was like, you're right, nobody's coming. So either I make this or I don't. Like that's, and I do say this to all filmmakers, period. You need to just be like, are you a filmmaker? If the answer is yes, then you should be making films. And that is something I had to come to terms with. Like, this is what I do, regardless if somebody gives me a shot or not. And I just got lucky and I got given a shot recently, but that's after years and years of like pounding the pavement every day. So
I'm
going to interrupt because I think I've got a great question. I don't know, Kathleen, are you finished? I don't want to interrupt you.
I'm finished. Yeah,
okay.
no, I'm finished. It's good.
No. So here's the cool thing, because first of all, it's just getting juicy. The second thing is I'd love to hear, I'm going to ask each of you something that made it worth it. Something that made it worth it. I mean, Lainey, I love that, what did you have, $40, $400? You were like, like you ladies have made your way. I love Katie's story. I love the story of your mom, of how she started and then who funded her first restaurant. That should be a trivia question on Jeopardy. I mean, it's just so powerful. You'll have to share it. But I'd love to know something that made it worth it. Like, was there a moment for you? Like, I've had moments, we've all probably had moments in our business or what have you. It could be a parental moment. It could be like when someone said to my son, you should go to business school, and because you've got this great business. He's like, I have my mom. I wanted to go to school. That was a great parental moment for me. A lot of responsibility, but a great parental moment. Was there a time where you're like, I never thought I'd meet this person, or I can't believe this is my life, or I can't believe I got to open up for Yes or Steppenwolf? I mean, come on. You know what I mean? Like, is there a time, share maybe like oh my gosh, this is where it started. And then how did this happen for me? So, Katie, I'm going to start with you because you're right in the middle of my screen.
Okay. Well, I had been an executive in the entertainment industry. I was a senior vice president of film and TV marketing, and I did a complete 180, changed my life, left my then husband, quit my job, joined my mother in the kitchen to cook together. So I gave up all of that and had to really pay my dues. So I'm like lugging trash up the steps with like oil seeping out. I'm like, what happened? To then suddenly I'm able to, cook at the White House under the Obama administration for the annual Easter egg roll. So that was sort of like, how the hell did I get here? Oh my God. But my mother always taught me about giving back to the community. And at the time, I was the culinary ambassador for City of Hope, a leading cancer research hospital. I'm now the cancer culinary ambassador for National Pediatric Cancer. But back in the day, she always just taught me, give to others, don't expect anything in return, because it's your responsibility as a human. But it has really, it's my North Star. She taught me that, and it's been so fulfilling and rewarding, because in the other industry I was in, I just didn't really, I guess I was so self-absorbed with working in the film industry. I didn't think about other people. So making that choice to honor her culinary legacy has completely changed my life.
Very cool. Very cool. Lainey, a moment that it was worth it.
Well, I've had a lot of those moments where they're kind of surreal, and like the phone rings and you answer it and you're like, how is this person calling me, or something like that. I've had a lot of those moments. So, I mean, I had to acknowledge it, because when I first came to LA, I didn't know anyone. I mean, literally no one. And, if you had told me at 19 or 20 that like William Morris Endeavor would call me on the phone with projects with attachments of huge stars in them to fund them and to work on them, that was a big moment of just, business wise, just to say, oh my God, like it didn't even, and it wasn't even a big deal. It just was like, okay, yeah, sure. I went to the meeting and I go, wait a minute, like, if you had told me at that age, to me, those seemed like the biggest deals in the world. Or, to have, I've worked specifically on referrals. So sometimes I'll answer the phone and it was like Ellen DeGeneres going, hey, I want you to help me with this. It was referred by Warner Brothers. And I was like, that wasn't expected. I didn't know her prior to that. Or, sometimes you're in these rooms, like I did Hilarity for Charity with Seth Rogen, and I'm like sitting at the table at his house or in his office with his wife and and you're just like, how the heck did I get here? Like, or, with Prince Albert and Monaco, or this one or that one, you're just sitting there going, okay. And other people think it's like a big deal, but it's become sort of just normal, and it's my job. So I just sit there with whoever. But once in a while, you just go, I'm sitting next to the Sultan of, and you're just like, I'm just this random girl from this, and nobody knew from anything. And so sometimes you have those moments where I actually took a picture of it. It was a big laugh. I was flown to Dubai, and they sat me at this table, and I looked to my right and it literally said Sultan bin Muhammad on the name tag next to me. And I'm like, wait, what am I doing here? And I just took a picture because they had added me last minute, and I have my little paper with my name handwritten next to the formally printed Sultan's name. And I just took a picture. I'm like, this is literally an example of my life. Like, how did you get here? It's so random that I would be sitting next to this person. But it's like a perfect example. Like, it's handwritten and his is like, perfectly printed. And I was like, yep. That's exactly me. I'm like the handwritten name next to the next to the royal. Like, how the hell did she get here? That's literally going to be the name of my memoir.
Your memoir. Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for sharing. It's incredible. I mean, Amanda May, any stories about something that surprised you or brought you joy, or it felt worth it, or oh, we can't hear you, hun. Or I can't hear you.
Mute.
I don't think
Okay, there we go. Can you hear
Okay.
me?
Thanks.
I can connect with what Lainey is is sharing. There's a lot of those times throughout my career. But every step along the way, I should say, and not but, every step along the way, when something like that happens, my ceiling goes higher, and then the next thing happens. So it's like, I like to consider those moments highlights, because there's a lot of things between those moments that we're doing to continue going up the scale and get to that next level, so that next thing can happen. And I really feel that way right now for my life. I look at it's been worth it. When I first started in the beauty industry, I had just had my son 20 years ago. And so he has only ever known me in the beauty industry. But as far as that goes, I was really chasing my career throughout his entire life. And I was away from home and I was traveling, and, yes, I had some quality time with him, but my attention was divided because I was really in hustle mode to make something successful for my life. And to be at this stage now as a new mom at 40 and being able to work from home in really two of my dream careers, where I'm in executive level roles in two different aspects of beauty, it's like I can see how over the last 20 years, every single thing I've learned has gotten me to this place with these companies, and to be able to hold these roles and create the financial abundance that I have, and also the abundance of time, because I do still have a lot of time with my daughter. The other day I was like between meetings, and I ran downstairs and I just grabbed her and squeezed her and was like, oh, this is so great. So I've put a lot of work in to get to this place, but I feel like right now is definitely a time that I can look at where I'm at, the success I have, and go, okay, the last 20 years was worth it. And now is when it's going to get really, really good.
Thank you. Darby, anything that, made it worth it, or you had a magical moment? I call them magical moments, or something that just brought you a great sense of joy?
I've been really lucky. I'm blown away by the stories of all the women here. I'm not sure why I'm on this panel. I'm see myself as merely an entertainer, singer, but I've had a wonderful journey in the 45 years I've been in the industry. And then opened for ZZ Top right across Canada. I toured opening for Whitesnake in '84 right across Europe. I've dined with the Queen. I've sang for the Queen. I knocked Anne Murray over on stage in front of the Queen. That's a story that I'll tell just to prove a point. What point, I'm not sure, but I filled in for Alana Miles singing a part of O Canada, which was re-recorded a few years back for, I think it's 150th Canadian anniversary. And the Queen came, and the Parliament buildings had a big stage, and basically half of Canada was in front of us on the streets of Ottawa. And we got out, there was 8 or 9 of us all together, got out and we sang our part of O Canada, the new version of O Canada. And the Queen was sitting right down in front. And I said to myself, I've been around, I've done this enough times, but how many times have I really taken the opportunity to take it in? Just look at this crowd, 40 million people right in front of me. And I'm just throwing that number out because I can't remember how many it was. But so I stood there and I looked and I'm like, wow, this is incredible. Okay, I'm going to go. And I turned around and ran right into Anne Murray and almost knocked her over. But in my defense, she had already done her part. She had left the stage, and it turns out she was running across the stage to go see the Queen, and we collided. And so, like, I know my name is mud around the Anne Murray circles, but it's not my fault, Anne. It was my stage at the time, just so, but anyway, I giggle about that quite a lot when I think of knocking over the Snow Queen of Canada. So But yeah, lots of things. The White Snake tour was really incredible. Those boys go back forever over in Europe. You would know that, right? I mean, yeah, 45 years of touring. We headlined in Canada for a while, but again, I mean, my story is just minute compared to what all you women are talking about. And thanks again for having me on the panel, Deb. It's wonderful.
Amazing, amazing. Hey, look at, if you're in Canada and you said Anne Murray and you knocked her over, you're like, I mean, you have no idea. That's like literally knocking over the Queen in Canada. So I'll take it to the Canadian in the house. Yankee Crystal Lowe. How about, thank you, Darby, a surprise, something beautiful, a joyful moment?
Oh, God, I can't wait to have moments like Lane. She's having really cool moments. One day I'm gonna get there. But I will say, the best moment for me just happened. So, the day before I was gonna direct my first feature length, my producer, who I absolutely adore, went and got Chinese dumplings because I'm half Chinese and that's what I want to do. And if I'm stressed, if I'm happy, I just want like Chinese dumplings or noodles or whatever makes me feel good. So he picked them up for me and we drove to my set and we were sitting outside in the car eating Chinese dumplings. And I was like, I mean, besides having my children, because nothing compares to that. Obviously, I have to say that in case they ever watch this, but it was, and I turned to him and I said, can we go find some hills to roll down? And he was like, what? I guess in my brain, like I equate rolling down hills to being like the most joyous thing you can do when you were a kid. You remember you used to like roll down them as fast as you could? And he was like, well, it's kind of dark, but if you want, he's like, you don't want to go over your shot list right now. I was like, no, man, I just want to eat these dumplings. And I want to go roll down some hills and laugh because it's taken so long to get here. And this moment feels like pure joy. It was just so joyful. I just felt so happy and I didn't want that to end. Just the knowing that my set was in there and that I was going to get, to go in there and create something that came out of my brain when I was sitting on the couch. And I got a crane, and that day I cried too. I'm a weirdo. I sat with my crane, just like sobbed and hugged it and was like, I have a crane. This like, if you're not a filmmaker, you'll be like, what? But for me, that's a huge piece of equipment. I would never get equipment like that. So to get to use that, those were the moments of like real total joy. And of course I made them play Whitney Houston, How Will I Know. That is my song. I play that constantly when I'm stressed and when I'm happy. And so my producer knew that and like it was just a beautiful moment that I will never forget. I was like, this is that moment. There's always like one, Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. And all of you ladies are in the book, and we'll just announce now in case you haven't gotten your copy that Yankee Crystal Lowe is actually the last page because we all sent in our pictures. She sent in like, that's it. Like when a film's over, I don't know what you call that board. And it was like, kind of like cut, but her words were keep going. So anyways, there's just a little sneak peek. Miss Kathy Bushnell, a magical moment in your world.
Okay, well, I had first seen the Rolling Stones in New York City in 1965 with their original lineup, including Brian Jones. And they just had those tiny amplifiers and no big blow up things and, huge stages. And it was really, I loved it. And Mick Jagger and Brian Jones, but Mick was playing a mean blues harmonica and I loved it. And I said, I'm going to do that. I know I can do it. And somebody taught me, although he told me before he taught me, he said, chicks don't play harp. I mean, really? I said, yes, they do. But anyway, so when my female rock duo was touring and it was in London, we were in London, usually we're on the road, but I was blowing away on my blues harmonica. And I looked out, you can't see that far because sometimes the audience, is dark, but there were two people standing under the exit lights and it was Mick and Keith watching me play harmonica. So that was one of my magical moments. And I swiveled over in their direction and I really played the main part. And not long afterwards, they came into a recording session we were at but and invited us in, but we actually turned them down because we were loyal to our friends and had said that we would be recording a couple of other songs with them. And so 60 years later, about 2 years ago, I was contacting Keith and I said, I want to apologize a little bit for, refusing to go into your recording session. I said, but, we were busy and loyal with the friends, our other musician friends. And he said, that's okay, love, I understand, is what he wrote back in the text. And about a week and a half later, I received a package in the mail, and I opened it up and it was a Rolling Stones with the tongue logo. It was red and black, and it was a couch throw from him, which was really
Wow.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
We turned down the Stones, but the magical moment was seeing them watching me play, which was really cool.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I've been so absorbed. Katie Chin, are you're gonna wrap us up on this?
Oh, I already shared that.
Oh, you shared? Okay, I was like, okay, I'm ready to go for round two. But anyways, thank you so much, ladies, for sharing, for being here, for being our closing panel. We're streaming. Thank you to those that are streaming and listening and watching us on stream. We've had thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of women come, and I can't even begin to tell you all of the comments that we get back and the inspiration that we drive for everyone. But we especially appreciate you coming together, being on a panel together, sharing together, making us. I love the last question because it just reminds us about the moments. Look.